sad from the previous week. This is the Sad Fan podcast. We're going to open up with football for the first time in a very, very, very long time. We haven't opened up with football, well, at least NFL football, since the Super Bowl, I believe. So it's time to get back to it, open up with it. Maybe the draft. Maybe the draft was the last time we talked about it. The Browns had a hell of a draft. Not really, no. They drafted 2 quarterbacks. And most of the fans that have been watching our show for a very long time know my stance on Shedeur Sanders. I think he is mostly hype. I don't think he's going to be great, just like I thought about Anthony Richardson, which we'll talk about later. But right now, what we're going to talk about is I think that because of Dylan Gabriel and what he said, I am coming around to Shedeur Sanders starting over Dylan Gabriel for the backup QB spot, as the Browns have already announced that old man Joe Flacco will be their starting quarterback going into week 1. It does not mean in any way that he will be the starting quarterback for the whole year. In fact, if you're a betting person, I would place strong money on the fact that he will not be their quarterback for the entire season. What we do have, though, is we have Dylan Gabriel making a comment. Dylan Gabriel said, "Some compete and others entertain," something to that effect. Or there were people that come out here to entertain and there are people that come out here to compete. And then he followed that by saying, "I'm somebody that comes out here to compete." Read into that what you will. I read into it that he was talking about Shedeur Sanders and the circus that does follow Shedeur Sanders and his father everywhere they go. And he kind of brings the circus and he embraces it. And that's one of the good things that Shedeur does is Shedeur is very good at embracing the chaos that surrounds him at all times. But here's where Dylan Gabriel lost me. Dylan Gabriel lost me because there was some follow-up, and he clarified that this was in no way about Shedeur Sanders, which, okay, all right, maybe you got to do that, right? But also, you're a football player. Football is a rough sport where you get paid for violence. You get paid to hit. Now, not at his position, but that is what the sport is at its heart, at its core. That is what football is. You are paid to go out there and impose your will on another human being physically. That is what football is. And when you clarify, no, that wasn't about Shedeur Sanders. No, it's about someone else. You kind of show your ass, and you now go down in my book as kind of a coward. Like, you could say you're keeping the locker room in sync and you want to stay synergized, blah, 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 blah. But you came across as soft, as weak, especially in that sport. Of all sports, like, there's not a sport where you want to come across as weak. But really, in that sport, you don't want to come across as weak. And the way that comment came across to anyone watching was, oh, you could have said anything. You could have said, I said what I said. You could have said, I am a competitor. There was no need for clarification. There wasn't, unless PR got into his ear and told him, hey, you need to go clean this up. There wasn't a need for any form of clarification. You were doing that for some reason, and I think it's because you were scared. That's what it was. You're scared of the backlash. You're scared of the fan reaction. Right now, he's not the favorite in Cleveland amongst the fans. Not that the fans are great there after their embrace of alleged sexual assault perpetrator Deshaun Watson. I would say that as it pertains to Dylan Gabriel, he's in second in the fans' hearts right now. And he's in second in the fans' heart right now because of things like this. Yeah, the circus helps. The hype helps. Shedeur has a hype train that follows him everywhere he goes. And like I said earlier, a lot of that has to do with his father. And he went sit 10 toes down and stand on it and say, yes, I'm here to compete. If he wants to be a circus freak entertainer, that is him. That is his choice. That is not my choice. What I am here to do is to play football and be the best out there. And I believe I'm the best out there. That's what Dylan Gabriel should have said, but that's not what he said. So now, even in my mind, as someone that wasn't a big supporter of Shedeur Sanders, hasn't been a big supporter of Shedeur Sanders for a while, as I'm like, you know what? Because of that attitude, that's weakness. And I smell it. It's blood in the water. And the sharks are circling. Give me Shedeur. Give me the person that's comfortable with people attacking him. Give me the person that has learned to take on everyone that doesn't think he can do it. Give me that person. Prove me wrong. I so badly want to be wrong. I don't ever want to be right, like I was with Anthony Richardson. And again, we're going to get to that here in a minute. But when I'm talking about a player in the sense that they're not good enough, I would rather be wrong in that instance. Here was an opportunity for me to be right. And now I'm hoping that I'm wrong. I'm really hoping that Shedeur Sanders continues to move up that depth chart and is able to be the backup to Joe Flacco. I know they still have Kenny Pickett there, the aforementioned he who shall not be named any longer. But I would love to see Shedeur now say, you know what, if you're not about it, I'm about it. And I'm going to stand on what I say. I'm not going to shy away from anything that comes with what comes out of my mouth. I'm going to lean into this full force wind, and I'm going to make sure that everyone knows, yeah, I said what I said, and I'm about business. We're here to compete. I am a competitor, not, oh, it wasn't about my teammate. Oh, no. I would never. Because you come across as weak and you make people not want to root for you. Let's go over to the Colts. The Indianapolis Colts named their starter over the week as well, and it wasn't Anthony Richardson. It was Daniel Jones. Many are saying it's because the team felt like he was the safer option, the better option for what they were looking for, which is some stability at the position. I don't know what about Daniel Jones screams stability. I just don't. I don't get that in any way at all. Sorry, not with the Giants, not with the Vikings when he left the Giants, and I'm not going to get it with the Colts. I don't see any form of stability coming from Daniel Jones, but that is what they said. That was their justification of making him the starting quarterback over Anthony Richardson. And Anthony Richardson took it in stride. He's got to roll with it. But I've always said, even in college, I said Anthony Richardson should be a third-round pick. He should not be a first-round pick. I don't care if he's got all the tools. He didn't look good in college. He wasn't a winner in college. He didn't look accurate. He doesn't look accurate now. And again, you guys are so unfortunate that I am a Raiders fan, born and bred, because Jamarcus Russell, the bane of my existence as a Raider fan, the cannon arm that could throw it all over the field, and you know he's not good enough, but at least he won. Anthony Richardson didn't win in college. Jamarcus Russell won in college. He won at LSU. He beat out the quarterback he was competing against for that first overall pick in Brady Quinn in Notre Dame in a bowl game. Anthony Richardson needs experience. He's going to be around the league like Johnson, like Johnson has been and play for lots of teams, but I don't know if he's ever going to really get that starting spot, that chance again. He might, because he is a specimen, but so is Johnson. And Johnson has played for, I just saw a stat, it was almost like 20 teams. All right. So that's what I see in Anthony Richardson's future, is that aspect of his game translating to backup quarterback. Yeah, he's a specimen, but he's never going to be that person that's going to be able to lead your team in a way that gets the fans excited outside of making one big throw every 4 games, making a run. I mean, he could come back as Randall Cunningham for the Minnesota Vikings. Like that could happen. Maybe you could see something like that turning out the way it did for him, for Anthony Richardson. I just don't. I don't know that this day and age you get that many choices in the NFL. And we're creating robo QBs in society now. It's a robotic art form. You have to be able to keep going day after day, week after week. And if you cannot do that, you're going to lose your spot to Daniel Jones. And that's exactly what happened to Anthony Richardson. Another fun QB battle that's going to go throughout the season that you're going to want to watch is the New York Giants. Russell Wilson, Jackson Dart, and Jameis Winston. And a really, really, really rowdy fan base that wants to get their way, that wants to be on top of the world, that wants to lead the charge into hope. And that's what a new quarterback gives you. Every time you are able to sign a new quarterback and you're a bad team, it gives you hope. And Jackson Dart looks good in the preseason. Now, again, if you listen to this show for a long time, you know I don't put any stake into the preseason at all. But that is something that even as a Raiders fan, I understand, is that with a new quarterback comes a new hope. With a new coach comes a new hope. It's a new shiny thing. It's a new shiny toy. And that's what the Giants have an opportunity to have in Jackson Dart. We know what Russell Wilson is. He's a stopgap for that team, and they're hoping to get lightning in a bottle with him. They're hoping that he can do something for that team to propel them to where they would like to be. where they are not yet. But I just don't see that happening. I would rather see what I can get out of Jameis Winston as a stopgap quarterback than a Russell Wilson. We know what Russell Wilson is. We know he's going to fade at the end of the season. We know he's broken as far as his physical abilities are concerned. At the end of the season, he will break down and he's not going to be able to do what he needs to do to get that team to go anywhere or to propel that team to levels that he hasn't been to since Seattle. It's just not who he is any longer, and it's not who he's going to be. So, that being said, I'm excited to see what New York Giants have in store. I don't think there's going to be a lot of patience. There's not a lot of patience in the NFL anymore. I think that we're going to see a rookie quarterback in Cleveland. I think we're going to see Anthony Richardson in Indianapolis before the year is over. And I think we're going to see a rookie quarterback in New York before the year is over. Let's move to where we get the rookies from. Let's move on to college football. It is finally here. It is week 0. Now, we talked a bit about this last week and giving a preview to what we were very excited for coming up in college football. This is going to be the final time that college football has the stage with no NFL. They own the week, the weekend, and they're going to take full advantage. And they've got their first game coming up this Saturday in Dublin, Ireland, with a ranked matchup in Iowa State and Kansas State. I don't know why you send those teams to Ireland. It's very confusing. I don't know what is going to get exciting. Get the Irish fans excited about going to that game. I suppose it's somewhere for your Iowa fans and Kansas fans to fly to that's out of country that could be fun for them to see if those fan bases travel well. But those two teams, though it could be exciting in the Big 12 this year, are not teams that I would look at and say, you know what? These are teams that have international appeal. These are teams that we could send abroad, and they're going to bring us back notoriety in these areas. So why send them? Why is this a choice that they have made? I don't know. I hope someone that does know can contact us here at TheSadFan and let us know what the thought process is behind sending Iowa State and Kansas State to Ireland. But either way, it does grow the game. It will be fun to see football played at a high level again. And it's in my time zone, so I'm excited about it. It's something that I'm going to be able to tune into and watch because I live overseas. So it's something that's fun for me too. And it is something to give all the Americans that live overseas as a gift. Like, hey, football is here and we don't just want to open in the United States. We want to open worldwide and we want to give our U.S. friends around the globe an opportunity to, and our U.S. fans an opportunity around the globe to watch football, to beckon in college football, the season with a good matchup that should be fun to watch. Kansas State and Iowa State are fun teams, and it should be a fun matchup to watch. It's just a weird one to be sending abroad. It really is. But I'm not going to complain about it. I'm just going to say it's weird because we're all very excited that we're going to have college football back this Saturday. There's no way that anyone is not going to turn in for that's a fan that's not going to turn in for 5 minutes. You're going to tune in. You're going to watch some of this game, and you're going to be excited because you know right around the corner is the NFL. Right around the corner is just till January, months of football that we can all enjoy, that we can all talk about together, and we're all going to huddle around the television. We're all going to get together on Thanksgiving. We're going to get together on Christmas. We're going to have family and football, and that's what we love in the U.S. That's what we love about football season. This sport is the biggest sport in the United States. It's trying to grow abroad, so we're not going to knock them for sending Iowa State, Kansas State to Dublin, Ireland. We're going to ask why those teams, but we're going to tune in, and we're going to have a great time as college football kicks off this Saturday in Dublin, Ireland. Finally, to our last topic of the day, the Las Vegas Aces. All right, the Las Vegas Aces, we talked about their struggles at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the season. We talked about their struggles at the midpoint in the season. They were at 500. Well, they have rattled off 9 out of their last 10 games. They have become that team that looks like a team of destiny heading into the playoff run. as they've won these 9 out of the last 10 games. We've also seen a strong emergence from A'ja Wilson, who is the all-star of the WNBA. She is a 2-time MVP. She is a player that is unstoppable when she gets it going, and the Las Vegas Aces are a team that can be unstoppable when they get it going. Now, Jewell Loyd looks great coming off the bench with that squad, and it's working. They've implemented this, and it's working because, like I said, they're on a tear, and they're not a team that you're going to want to see as they go into the playoffs or as the playoffs get set. The Las Vegas Aces are a scary squad. They won 2 championships over the last 3 years. The team looks fantastic again. Becky Hammon has them playing at a very high level. A'ja Wilson is crushing it. Again, probably going to make a case again to get some MVP votes. This team is great. I don't know what was going on at the beginning of the season. I don't know what took so long for this team to gain traction, but they are the team to watch in the WNBA right now. Now, they're not at the top of the standings, but when you go on a tear like this towards the end of the year, you're a team that looks like it's going to keep going. You're a team that looks like it won't be able to be stopped as they hit these playoff stretches, as they get into these playoff games. They're the third best team in the WNBA right now. Okay. There are a few games left. They're only behind the Atlanta Dream for the second place in the WNBA right now in the league standings. If they keep going like this, they're going to pass the Atlanta Dream without issue. Minnesota is tough. They're a great team at number 1. They're a team that really wants to come in and win the championship this year after what happened last year with the New York Liberty. But there are great teams standing in their way. We're not discounting the New York Liberty either. We know the New York Liberty are great. We know they're a squad to be reckoned with. But here at TheSadFan, a majority of us are Las Vegas Aces fans. And we're rooting for the Las Vegas Aces. We're rooting for Becky Hammon. We're rooting for Jewell Loyd. We're rooting for A'ja Wilson to make a run and get back to their rightful spot on top of the WNBA as champions. This squad is phenomenal. The Las Vegas Aces are going to become the strongest franchise out of Las Vegas. As the Golden Knights have only won 1 championship, the Aces have an opportunity here to win their 3rd in 4 years. They have a fantastic squad with a ton of all-stars. So we're going to look to them to carry Las Vegas on their back and get a 3rd championship this year. Despite what we think about the Minnesota Lynx and them being unstoppable, the Las Vegas Aces look like a team of destiny, and the Las Vegas Aces look like a team that's going to be able to get this done this year as we get ready to head into the playoffs. This is not a blip on the radar. 9 out of 10 games is not a blip. 9 out of 10 games is a sample size that you can say, hey, look, this is who this team actually is. What happened at the beginning of the season is not who they are. This is what they're going to carry into the playoffs, and this is what's going to get them into that championship game. Thank you so much for joining us each and every week here on TheSadFan. We look forward to seeing you next time. And make sure you tune in to next week's show as we do our NFL preview. We're going to pick the division winners. We're going to give you some insight into every single team in every single division. It may be brief if your team is terrible or we just know they're fantastic, but make sure you tune in because you're not going to want to miss it.
Back to the block, I'm scamming. Back in the shop, I'm scamming. Get it off a dummy, I'm scamming. Always get money, I'm scamming.